Will the circle be unbroken? By and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I told them, Undertaker, Undertaker, please drive slow. For that body that you are hauling, Lord, I hate to see her go. Will the circle be unbroken? By and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Morning, everybody. Figured I'd start by doing a little vocal warm-up, eh? So, I haven't done any videos for a while. I've had some reasons for that. And, been working through them, alright? So, forgive me for my lack of coverage. Trying to think of new ways to reinvent myself and whatnot. Kind of. Although I'm doing the same thing now, right? So I've got a lot of ideas. I took a little break, things like that. I'm not going to get into that, though. Actually, bump some, knock it out. I don't have a stand for my rig here, so just bear with me. So, anyways, the reason I'm coming at you today is because I have a really good topic to cover. There was an email discovered by Susan Rice yesterday, sometime early in the morning. And if you follow my Twitter and if you follow my Facebook page, which is @ReviewTheEarth, you would see these tweets that would have come through last night. And the video I liked. So I liked this video. It was an appearance with Lindsey Graham, which I'm no fan of Lindsey Graham. But Lindsey Graham was on there. And as well as later in the appearance, like he did an appearance, and then Judge Apollo did an appearance. They were talking about this email that Susan Rice, this cryptic sounding email that Susan Rice had emailed herself on the day of the inauguration, which it was worded bizarrely, timed bizarrely, bizarre. And it was like a note to self, this happened today, and this happened today, and this happened the other day, and it's one of those type of things. But she would never use that email again. It was her last day, as far as I can tell. So, so why did she email herself this? Well, it apparently, and this is all allegedly, and I'm not a total expert on this, but it does make sense to my view that what had happened was that these meetings that Obama denied with Comey and that Comey denied with Obama, she says they took place in her email. And it's basically how would you say this? A recap of that. I'll source it too when I go to post. These potholes, I gotta be careful again. I'm just leaning this on my car. So it alludes to all these facts, and here I'm just gonna hold this because I know it's. That'll probably be better. You can probably see it better anyway. It's safe. My arm's down there. I'm just holding it rather. But sorry. Anyways, it alludes to the fact that these meetings actually did occur, which according to that, it would mean that, and we already know that Comey basically perjured himself, but Obama was never made to testify, and Obama has never perjured himself, so, to my knowledge, but he did lie about this. You know, he's never been grilled in a session of Congress or anything like that, but when asked about these things, apparently he lied about them. Which isn't a crime if you're not lying to the FBI or Congress or perjuring yourself. You're just a liar. So this may be the thing that gets him dragged into there. Comey lied about it, and so he's gonna get cooked on this one, I think, if it goes through. You know, I'm starting to wonder if any of this is gonna go through, because I'm starting to have some serious doubts about the whole thing. It's the more you study it, the more you unfurl it, the more hopeless, I guess you could say, it seems to become in some ways. You know, people like that I had a lot of respect for, I've lost respect for, and people that I didn't have respect for, I've gained respect for. So it's very interesting, cloak and dagger operation. Let me get to the meat and potatoes. So this email, which I'll provide the source for, came out, and I watched the video of it, and I didn't really think a whole lot about it. Didn't think too much of it. I was like, well, it's just one more thing, you know. We all know that there's the text. We all know that there's the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page relationship. It's starting to come out about that. So we understand that. Just double checking here. Looks like there's some slow traffic. So we already know about that, but it's going nowhere seemingly, right? Well, this one may be more, because the Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, one of the text messages says that, you know, POTUS wants to know everything. So that's one piece of evidence. But this one is an official email on an official, you know, Susan Rice did this. And it basically contradicts what Obama said and contradicts what Comey said, saying they had a meeting. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, okay? Please feel free to comment as you see fit below. Now, why would she do this? And what does it mean? Well, if she didn't do that, there wouldn't be hard proof, maybe. There might be more, obviously, but it was one way to cover her butt. She was named in the unmasking deal. She was also the one that came out on Benghazi and said that it was the fault of a YouTube video and didn't have any other, you know, grounds, and it was just that the Muslims in Libya were very upset about this YouTube video, which is a total crock, as most people know, because you know, a YouTube video is going to incite all these riots or whatever. That's ridiculous. I mean, it didn't happen like that. That's not what it was about. Then they lied about that too. And Hillary Clinton, who was the Secretary of State at the time, supposedly was supposed to go and but brief the press and all this about it. She skipped out, and they put Susan Rice in there, and they basically made her out to be the liar, while Hillary could skate away scot-free, not have to answer any questions about it, etc. So she then also, I'm going to use the word demotion, even though I don't know if it was. She was the ambassador at the UN at the time. So she wasn't the Secretary of State, and she was thinking that she would be moved to the Secretary of State, which would have been a promotion, or stay at the UN, the job she apparently liked. Now, I'll source that too. There's a story about that as well. She then were putting, I'm blanking on the position now, a different position within the Obama administration. So she wasn't like Nikki Haley is today. She's the ambassador to the UN. She came home, came back to Washington, D.C., and didn't have that job anymore. So the other thing they put her through, so that's one thing they kind of wronged her on. But the next thing they wronged her on was, oops. Sorry. That was weird. The next thing they wronged her on was the unmasking deal. And maybe she felt very disgusted and vulnerable by doing that, but she went ahead and did it anyway. And then on the last day, on the inauguration, right, on the very last day of Obama's office, right as Trump was getting sworn in, she hung around the office and she types up this, what would otherwise be a pointless email. knowing that Obama administration could not read it, did not have access to it. The only people that would be Obama or the Trump administration. The only reason that they would even go find it is if they did what they did, which is uncover all this stuff that they're now uncovering. In the case of doing that, she left this as a package, a cover your CYA package in the in her email, because if they found that, it would corroborate the evidence, thus potentially allowing, which hasn't happened yet, so if it doesn't, then it doesn't, but this would potentially allow her to cop some kind of either plea deal or get immunity completely and then roll on all these guys, spill the beans on everything. It was her insurance package that she didn't go to jail, which is pretty epic. Now, all these tweets are coming from a guy named Thomas Wichter, and I don't know if you know him, but I've been following him for quite a while, reading through some of his stuff, and it's very detailed analysis. It was an 18-tweet long tweet, basically, and it makes sense to me. All of that politically makes sense. If you knew that you were being thrown through the meat grinder, and you knew that you could potentially become a sacrificial lamb to cover up, crimes of the administration, then it's plausible to think that you would make yourself an insert if you were smart enough. Like, she's obviously pretty smart, and she knew that she was up to rotten stuff, but she was being made to do it, put up to it anyways. She could have resigned, but at the same time, she could become a national hero if she goes in and rolls on all these people. So this is very interesting, and it's the first really, really, I'd say, glimmer of hope recently, because all this stuff's been coming out, but all these people are just, they're more or less complaining about it, but not really doing anything about it. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully what I've laid out here makes sense to you too. Please check the sources that I'm going to source. I'm going to source a few links below. Check those out. It would be great. And comment as you see fit. If there's something wrong with this narrative, please enlighten me to it, because this might be it. This might be the thing. If she cops immunity and Sessions really is just waiting, and he's not actually the lame duck that we have come to suspect him as. I disagree with a lot about Jeff Sessions, and I've been very upset at Jeff Sessions, But I'm just pulling over here for a second. But I've been very critical of Jeff Sessions, basically the whole way through, and he may be just waiting. I hate to use like the 3D chess angle, especially for Sessions, but it may be that. Maybe he's directed by Trump, and I don't want to just say 3D chess, but I think you get what I'm saying. Maybe they're just not commenting on it and not acting on it as to not spook anybody right now, so that they can keep clamping the device. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Find out more stuff through the public channels and squeeze. And that also buys time. No. That's Willie Nelson. Look at it. That's Willie Nelson. He's here with me. Woohoo! That's my dog, Willie. So it's squeeze. That also, people, for whatever reason, are so brainwashed and love Hillary that by rounding her up, so close without letting certain things happen, and all this is that part is definitely speculation. Most of this is speculation, but I think it's good analysis. I think it's good speculation. I wouldn't be doing a video after not having been doing videos for 4 months if I didn't think that this was actually an important thing. Because there's been plenty of, oops, I got you moments, and breaking news, and this is it. But nothing's been it. But this might be something. If they can get Susan Rice to roll and cop immunity on the crime that she may have committed, which is unmasking the individuals in the Trump administration, Flynn, for example, which kind of even kicked off the whole thing. Maybe Susan Rice has a much bigger role that we don't understand or know about at this point, and it's just starting to become clear. So, very interesting stuff. And I'll definitely be keeping posted on this issue. And everybody should go out and follow at Thomas Wichter. You'll find it compelling analysis, to say the least. He seems to be a very educated person and knows a thing or two about the military-industrial complex and warfare as well. So, with that being said, that's the first video back for a while. And I miss all you guys. I'm going to be doing more of these. I've got more stuff coming up. But I don't want to just get on here every day and just go off about Trump stuff either. I really want to be focused and to the point. So I'm trying to become more goal-oriented on my programming, and I really want to take it to the next level. So I've been hesitant on just doing the same thing over and over. But that being said, doing the same thing over kind of hones your skills at the public speaking angle here, and it also, I was listening, and you should watch this, Joe Rogan and Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I wasn't a huge fan of Jimmy Dore. I've seen some things I liked, but then I've seen a lot of more things that I didn't like. But that interview, 3 hours, of course, on Rogan, was absolutely mind-blowing, amazing. It was one of the best that I've seen. You know, Joe does so many good ones with Jordan Peterson and all these other people. But that one that he did with Jimmy Dore last night was really good. There were so many angles. I got a lot more respect for Jimmy Dore after watching that, and it was pretty mind-blowing, not just for him, but their discussions, what they were talking about. They were talking about Seth Rich. Joe Rogan is the ultimate centrist, and Joe Rogan has come, I mean, he's just amazing. He's an amazing person. I don't always agree with him. Sometimes I've even got a little, chapped at him about some of the issues. I'm like, how can you not see this? But the thing that you can count on Joe is being a centrist all the time. He admits, hey, I might not be right. It's just the way I see it, type of thing. And he just is so good. And that podcast last night was great. And the point of that was that people are so stuck on this Hillary thing that it might not be the time. It may be becoming the time, because people like Jimmy Dore, who have some influence, are talking common sense in a way that me, a libertarian, conservative Trump supporter, can really get behind and respect. There's certain things about what he says that I don't agree with, but a lot of it I really can agree with. So I really want to get more to the point. I'm not trying to ramble on, but it's been a minute. So on that podcast, that's what I was trying to get to. On that podcast, they were talking about Jerry Seinfeld, and a lot of talk about comedy because they're both comedians. They were talking about Jerry Seinfeld, and Seinfeld said, if I don't do comedy every 4 days, I'll notice. If I don't do comedy every 5 days, the audience will notice. So in a way, maybe it is important to continue doing this, every 4 days or so. Even if I don't have a lot to say. I just don't want to come off, like ranting and raving and looking like some kind of, over-the-top Trump supporter, because I don't see myself like that, but others in my life definitely do. People on Facebook and stuff that are lost, lose it every time that I come back with a reply. I mean, you can see my videos here. I don't cuss a lot. Some videos I do, and I usually give a profanity warning, like H.A. Goodman. Shout out to H.A. Goodman. He's the man. So, I typically don't use harsh language on these videos. In real life, I do all the time. But when I'm publicly presenting myself, I'm trying to give the world the best of who I am. And I do the same thing on social media for the most part. Sometimes I do a little trolling, all right? You gotta do that sometimes, just to keep things interesting, because I also like controversy, I love rock and roll. And you've gotta wake people up to a certain degree, but I don't want to beat them over the head with this stuff. You know, I'm going to use the same drip, drip, squeeze, squeeze, gentle, gentle squeeze. And if they don't like it, they don't have to listen, you know. But I get called so many names, and I don't call anybody names. So that's just, I'll leave you with that as a parting message here, that if you go online and you're trying to fight the good fight, you know, leave the troll stuff to the trolls, because they're not gonna stop anyways, right? But if you're really trying to be the best you can be the best American you can be, you know, I would suggest, and you're doing videos or putting out political content of some kind. Get a little shot of Willie there. I would suggest that, that's a good boy. I would suggest that you, you know, I'm not telling you that I'm not trying to be the moral compass of the world, but I've found that by not losing it on people, not using harsh language, being fair with people, and trying to, you know, give them props, give them credit where credit's due, that sort of thing, they end up squirming many times. Not all of them, but a lot of them that aren't so politically versed, they just start squirming, get upset, and then they say, F you. Why don't you just go into a corner and shut up? Why don't you, you know, eventually it will lead to the road to censorship, unless the person that you're communicating with is a decent person and can handle it. But all the other tweets or all the other conversation pieces, they're a little wild. So keep it real out there, folks. I love all you guys, all my fans, all the people that I've talked with and streamed with over the last year, all the people that have encouraged me to keep going, all the people that have hit me up to, you know, ask me how I'm doing, and the what projects, you know, they want to work on or do with me. There's so many good people out there, and I really appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna get back to business on this, especially because I think it's gonna get very interesting very soon. All right, so we'll see you guys. Peace, man. Peace out.